Okay, I am live. Woohoo! If anybody is here, please write a comment so I know who you are because it doesn't tell me who people are. It just tells me that there are people here. Right now it tells me there's no one here, so I'm just going to blither away as usual and wait for comments. Yeah, it's me. It's Nancy in a silly hat. I thought this hat was fun because it just says happy. No specification about what we're happy about. But I figure being happy is always a good thing. So, yeah, it's not happy birthday. It's not anniversary. See, there's nothing further on the hat. Just happy. So let's be happy. I'm all in favor of being happy, always. Okay, so I'll just get the intro out of the way. I'm Nancy Harkness. I'm a romance author, and I'm here doing episode number 6 of Writer Unedited, which means it's just me sitting here at my writing desk. My computer is right over there. I would say I was looking the way I normally do when I'm writing, but that's actually a lie because I'm celebrating my 20th anniversary as a published author, so I am wearing a dopey party hat, and I have a noisemaker. Skoda is not here sleeping, so it's no fun because I can't wake him up with the noisemaker. I don't know if you guys were here for that, but when he was sleeping on his cat bed one time this month, where I blew the noisemaker and several times, and it woke him up. It was pretty entertaining. Sharon, hi! So nice to see you. So glad you stopped by. So I have 4 viewers. Yay! Who are they? Come on, guys. Give me comments so I know who you are. So I like seeing who I'm talking to. Makes it more like a conversation for me. Okay, so back to being Writer Unedited. So this is just me chatting away. No script. Few notes just so I won't forget what I want to say. Sally McKenzie! Oh my goodness, Sally made it. So good to see you, Sally. And Sandra Webster Sweet. Hey, Sandra! You in Virginia? Sandra lives down in Virginia. Sally lives in DC. Sharon's in NJ. I love it. Everybody's all over the place. So good to see you guys. Thanks for coming. I love it. So Sally says we're off work this week. That's why she's joining me. Her work is her grandson. So nice vacation. Happy vacation, Sally. Okay, so it's just me blithering away. I have a few notes so I don't forget what to talk about, but this is very unedited, and I'm wearing some sparkly jewelry just because I went out to lunch a little earlier, so that's why I'm a little duded up for me. So anyway, celebrating my 20th anniversary as a published author this month, August, because this little book, A Bridge to Love, was published by Berkeley 20 years ago this month. And this is the mass market paperback, exactly the way it came out. See, it has a pretty shiny on the cover. That was kind of fun, the shininess. That is the George Washington Bridge on the cover, which I think I talked about being very relieved because I was sure they would like slap the Golden Gate on the cover or something because it's more famous, but the George Washington Bridge plays a very important role in the book, so I really needed it to be right. So, credit to my editor. So, Sandra says, oh, that was a great book. Thank you so much, Sandra. Is that the first book of mine you read? I'm wondering about that because I know you found me a long time ago. Of course, this book now looks like this. This is the new cover for A Bridge to Love. And to celebrate my anniversary, it is on sale on Kindle this month for 99 cents, as are my other 2 standalone novels, Shower of Stars, which I actually will probably be talking about next week a bit, and Music of the Night. So those are all on sale for 99 cents on Kindle. I wish I could put them on sale on paperback, but paper costs a lot of money. Sandra, so it was the first book you read of mine. Cool. I love that. Let's see. What were the other notes I had? Oh, so the other thing I wanted to say is if you miss an episode of Writer Unedited and you're really crushed about that, you can always find the episodes on my YouTube channel, and I will put a link in the comments below after I finish the live. And by the way, if anybody has questions, please write them in the comments. I'm very excited because I got a question on my reminder about today, so I'll be talking about that in a minute. But I do have some exciting news about Royal Kaleva Gabrielle. The audiobook is available now. I thought it wasn't coming out until September 1st, but I had a reader who actually, in fact, I have two readers who emailed me and said they had already bought it and were listening to it. So you can get it on Audible already. Woohoo! Pretty cool. Now I have to buy it and listen to it, of course. So the narrator is named Nick Mills. It was kind of interesting. They gave me three narrators to choose from. And I really liked Nick's voice. And I liked his pronunciation of foreign words because, as you know, Royal Kaleva Gabrielle has both just little dribs and drabs of Spanish and French just for texture. And he did a really good job of those. And he was really cute because he even talked to me on the phone about pronunciation and sent me an example of his work. And he seems like a delightful young man. I believe he's an actor too. So anyway, so audiobook available now. Woohoo! Very excited. What else? All right, well, let's talk about A Bridge to Love a little more, and then I'm going to move on to reader question. So I always show you an artifact, right, that has to do with my book. So here is one of two bookends of a bridge, and it looks like the George Washington Bridge. So this is one of the things that's in my office to inspire me because of A Bridge to Love. Also, it's very heavy. It makes a great bookend, I gotta say. I just think they're really pretty too. I think it's very graceful lines and cool. So that's my artifact of the day. And the other thing that I suddenly remembered about writing A Bridge to Love is that I had music that I always put on when I was writing that. And it was Faith Hill's album, Breathe. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But, you know, it's country pop, really. Country pop, I guess. And to this day, every time I hear a song from that album, it just takes me right back to when I was writing A Bridge to Love, which is kind of fun. The interesting thing is, I don't listen to music when I write in general because I find it distracting. I can't focus so well when I'm listening to music. Even when I was writing Royal Kaleva Gabrielle and I was researching flamenco music because, of course, he plays flamenco guitar. And flamenco music, for the most part, doesn't have words because you think, oh, it's words that distract you. But I couldn't even listen to flamenco music while writing this because it would I'd get caught up in the music, to be honest, and it would be hard to focus on the writing. So I had to listen to the flamenco music when I was not writing the book. However, I know a lot of authors who do listen to music when they're writing. Sometimes they have music especially for that book. Sometimes they have what they call writing music, you know, that just cues them to get in the mindset of writing. So, you know, they'll publish playlists that they were listening to when they were writing a particular book. I just can't do that. I'm just way too easily distracted. My brain works pretty much in one direction when I'm writing. So I just thought that was a fun fact about writing A Bridge to Love. It's my only truly musical book. So on to a question from Lisa Thomas. She asked me, what book/series did you find the hardest to research? Well, of course, research isn't really hard for a writer. We love to do research. It's our way of procrastinating in a lot of cases. Sally, I know you're really good at the going down rabbit holes of research. Sally writes Regency romance, so she actually has to do a fair amount of research, although by now she's probably such a pro that she knows everything about the Regency period. But yeah, research is tough. So I thought about this because I've done research on Sally says guilty as charged. Yes. Sally actually likes to drag me down rabbit holes too. She will send me links to interesting things that we've been emailing about or something. And so then I get sidetracked into fun, informative information that I actually don't need. But I got to say it's fun. So anyway, the hardest series I ever researched, I would say, is my Second Glances series. So this is second time around. Actually, I should do these in order. So the first book in that series is actually a novella, and it's bound in this weird way because it's e-only. My publisher decided to release it just as an ebook. But Second to None is actually the launch book for my Second Glances series. My editor calls this series, I should say, Billionaires with Heart. And I'll tell you why when I talk about the research. So here's the first full-length novel in the series is Second Time Around. And the second and last full-length novel is Second Act. Oh, did you hear Skoda? Skoda's talking to me. Skoda, come on in. Come join the fun. And by the way, these two books, just coincidentally, my publisher has put on sale this month. I've forgotten exactly what the prices are, but they're reduced on Kindle. So the reason that I say these are probably the hardest to research is that they're set in the South Bronx. And honestly, the South Bronx is not a location I know a lot about. So I spent time driving around the South Bronx, taking photographs, trying to get, a feel. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What do the people look like? And then I got really lucky. I was eating at a restaurant in Manhattan, and I don't even know how it came up, but the maitre d', somehow I found out the maitre d' lived in the South Bronx with his wife and his relatively new baby, and the poor man. I peppered him with questions. I got his email and peppered him with more questions about living in the South Bronx. But it was really interesting. It was interesting to explore a place that thoroughly. I wanted to make it authentic because it's a real place, obviously. And then the other thing that made these books complicated, research-wise, is that so they were set in an after-school care facility for disadvantaged children. And the facility offered a sort of interesting perk, if you want to call it that, for the kids. The kids mostly could not have pets for all kinds of reasons, often economic, sometimes just not having someone to take care of it. So the women who ran this center adopted rescue dogs, and the kids became their parents, right? Took care of them, socialized them, etc. And I had to really learn a lot about, whether that was, well, the truth is it probably wouldn't be allowed, I'll be honest. But I did need to look into how that might work. And also, a lot of the plot revolved around, like veterinary issues. One, there was a dog bite issue, so that was a legal thing that I had to look into. What happens if a dog bites someone? What are the procedures, etc. And it wasn't one of the dogs at the center that bit someone, by the way. It was another dog. But I still needed to know what the procedures were. And then this book in particular, because the heroine is a veterinarian, thank goodness Dr. Darling Daughter was in vet school at the time. Now she's actually a full-fledged vet, but back then she was just in vet school. And I needed all kinds of veterinary information for this one. And so she got bombarded with a lot of questions. But she said it was fun because she would sit around with her fellow students. I would say, okay, I need an ailment that has these particular elements associated with it. And then I would list all the elements because I needed, the cat to be sick for a certain length of time and then get better and need meds or not need meds or whatever. So I would have this whole list. And she said she and her fellow students would sit around with the list and try to come up with an ailment or, disease or condition that worked for that. So I would say these books took the most research. I mean, was it difficult? I guess, except research is just fun. So I never mind doing it. So these are the Billionaires with Heart series. I had written the Wager of Heart series before these, where it was the three billionaires who bet on love. And I just kind of, that was they were very high flyers. And I kind of wanted to bring it back to a little more grounded kind of book. So these were my way of trying to do that. So Lisa, thank you for asking that really fun question. You really made me think about things, so I appreciate it. Let's see. Ellen's here. Hi, Ellen. And Ellen's in Florida, so we're getting even farther away. Ellen says, those books are so good. Oh, thanks, Ellen. I loved it. I have to say, I especially loved writing this one because it was so collaborative with my daughter because of the veterinary questions that it was just really fun. And Sandra Webster Sweet says, I am the third book of this series. Great reading. Thank you, Sandra. I'm so glad. So I hope you're enjoying my movie star. That was fun too because the hero, Hugh, is a movie star. And, you know, that's the fantasy. Actually, he was in Gavin's book in Wager of Hearts, if anybody remembers him. So he got his own book. So that was fun. So those books are on sale. I just wanted to remind you that the CEO Buys In, the All-Star Ante's Up, and the VIP Doubles Down are also on sale in the U.S. for 99. No, they're not 99 cents. I've forgotten how much they are. And then in the U.K., The Money Man and the Hacker are on sale on Kindle for 99p. That's what I got confused about. Do you remember that? And, you know, my publisher does these sales and just tells me they're doing it. I never know why they pick which books that they do or why they pick the prices, but it's nice that they put them on sale regularly for you guys, right? Let's see. So Sandra says, so handsome. Yes, Hugh is very good looking. To be fair, most of my cover models are pretty darn good looking. That's why they're cover models, right? And Ellen asks, how many books have you written? Well, I have 18 published books. That includes novellas. I've written, I would say, 2 to 3 more than that. 3 more than that, I guess, which just didn't get published for various reasons. Well, the first one I wrote shall never be published because it was truly terrible. I made every mistake that a new writer could make. Amazingly enough, a publisher was interested in it, but they wanted significant rewrites, which, believe me, it needed. And I had just had a baby when that happened, and I just couldn't deal with both. Knowing what I know now, I probably would have done the rewrites, but back then, I just couldn't. And then a couple of the others, just, you know, nobody wanted them for some reason or another. It just happens, no publisher. Possibly, I don't know, there's one that was a romantic suspense that had to do with horses. The problem is I've sort of cannibalized those older books with some of my newer ones. Like I actually wrote a hockey romance that I loved, but I kind of borrowed stuff from it for the All-Star Ante's Up. So I don't know. It might be too repetitious. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at them. Who knows? But right now I'm really into my royals on Kaleva, so it would be hard for me to go and fix up an old book because my brain is on Kaleva, on the beautiful island of Kaleva. Speaking of which, I told you last week that I was getting ready to send How to Plan a Royal Wedding off to my copy editor, and that's the free bonus novella that all my newsletter subscribers will be getting in October. And it will definitely be in October because my copy editor, not only did I send it off to her, but she sent it back already. Granted, it's a novella, it's short, it's only, I think, about 20,000 words, but gosh, she is speedy. And now I have to go through and look at all her corrections, of course. But that means it will be ready for October, for sure. I designed the cover for it, which I think is kind of fun. That will probably be revealed in my September newsletter, possibly even sooner. You never know. But so, little known fact, I used to actually do layout for a daily newspaper when I was in college. So I actually have some graphic design experience. I was trained by the man who was, you know, the paid person who did it all the time. So he did teach me graphic design, but in a work setting. So I don't have formal training in it, but I do have experience. So I feel like my cover came out pretty well. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, so the other thing I wanted to warn you is How to Plan a Royal Wedding. The novella contains significant spoilers. So you really have to read Royal Kaleva Gabrielle first. Otherwise, it will ruin the mystery for you. It was unavoidable. Sorry about that, guys. But, this series is going to be one of those series that has to be read in order because there's some overarching characters, right, that run through the books. And once you know sort of who they are, it as I said, it would ruin the mystery. So just a warning. And I have that warning on the cover of the book. I have that warning on page 1 of the book, so of the novella, I should say. So hopefully nobody will be sad because they read it first. And the other thing I'm working on writing-wise, as I mentioned last week, my critique group worked through the first 2 chapters of Luisa's book. And by the way, I'm way beyond 2 chapters done. And had some really good ideas to make it so much better. So I revised those first 2 chapters, and now I'm on to revising the subsequent scenes, because when you change something significant in the early chapters, it ripples through to later scenes, of course. So that's what I'm working on now. I have to admit, I'm getting really antsy. I'd like to start writing some new material, but I feel like I can't do that until I've really worked out all the ripples, so to speak, and made sure that I've taken into account all the changes that I made early in the book. So this is the life of a writer, just so you know. Okay, are there any other questions? I'm just looking at the comments here. No other questions? That's it? Come on, guys. I love getting questions. So grateful to Lisa for the one. Let's see. Why is it doing weird things? Sally asks, any cat stars? Well, actually, in second act, Dr. Darling Daughter's cat Geode is in the book. He plays a part in the climactic last dramatic scene. So yeah, there are some cat stars. Pie is actually in My Little Gray Cat Pie, if anybody remembers her, who is no longer with us, sadly. What is in Gavin's book, The VIP Doubles Down. I'm trying to think. Cats. Oh, the Money Man, there are 2 cats in the book, both named after Georgette Heyer characters, because the heroine is a huge fan of Georgette Heyer in that book. And Sally will know Georgette Heyer because Georgette wrote, again, no longer with us, sadly, fabulous Regency romances, just like Sally writes. So, although Sally's are sexier. But I grew up on Georgette Heyer. My grandmother read Georgette Heyer, and she would finish one and then give it to me, and I just adored those books. I still go back and read them. They're my comfort read when, I'm sad or depressed or just need to get away from things. I go back and read Georgette Heyer because it takes me back to my youth. Sally says, ha, I terrorized my brother and niece with a Heyer rabbit hole? What was your Heyer rabbit hole that was terrifying or terrorizing? I'd love to know that. I don't think of Georgette Heyer as being terrifying, although she did write murder mysteries, actually, which were pretty good. I liked her Regency romances better, but she was just a very good writer. The only thing she wasn't good at is when she wrote just straight historical novels. Somehow she just lost her sparkle in those, but her Regency romances are just brilliant, in my opinion. Love those. Okay, so Sally says, I Googled her and sent far more information than they wanted, but my brother made the mistake of mentioning her. Yeah, I know how you do that, Sally. It's like when you send me down rabbit holes, too. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I think I remember you mentioning that your brother had brought her up in association with some other author who sort of had nothing to do with her. It was kind of interesting. Okay, so I think I've got nothing else to say. You guys got anything else to ask me? Sally's admitting guilty as charged again. Well, this has been really fun. I'm so glad lots of people have been here. Thank you all for... Oh, Sally said that he mentioned Georgette Heyer in conjunction with James Joyce. That's right. And I was like, I don't understand that combination at all, because as far as I'm concerned, James Joyce will suck all the joy out of you while Georgette Heyer will bathe you in joy. So go figure. So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming. This has been a blast. Love seeing you all. And I'm going to sign off. I will be back here next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, chatting away again. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Sandra. So nice to see you here. And have a good rest of your week, guys. And have an even better weekend. And I'm going to sign off now. Bye-bye.